Welcome back to the New Mexico State Aggies Dynasty. Today we wrap up the regular season with our final two conference games of the year. First, we travel to rainy Corvallis to take on Oregon State Beavers, who come in with a 5-5 record, 3-2 in conference play. The Aggies coming to this one number 18 in the country after last week's win. The Aggies have also all but wrapped up an opportunity to defend their conference title in Vegas in a couple weeks, and one more win will definitely book their tickets. So the action begins with the Aggies ball from the 25. Parker Waugh takes a snap from gun. All the routes run left, but he's going to tuck it and run right as he sees all the green, and he picks up a big gain for a first down. Later, facing a second and inches, they decide to throw a quick screen pass to Isaiah Abita, who picks up a block, turns it upfield for another gain of 22 yards and a first down. Beavers defense does get them in a 3rd and goal situation, and they end up picking up the stop as a pass breakup by Isaiah Chisholm. Aggies get 3 on their opening drive. We skip ahead to the second quarter now. OSU ball. Quarterback Jabari Johnson is going to drop back to pass. He's going to look to throw it, but ends up getting sacked. He fumbles it. The ball is picked up by DJ Warner, who's going to run it in, scoop and score. Touchdown Aggies. Defense makes a huge play as they score their first touchdown of the game on defense. Following OSU drive, Johnson faces the pressure again. He tries to scramble and try to throw it up, and that's picked off by cornerback Jacoby Campbell. Back-to-back turnovers forced by the Aggies defense, and this is going to lead to their second field goal of the half, extending their lead to 3. OSU ball now needing a spark on offense, but the Aggies defense, they smell blood. He's going to try to scramble to the left, and Tiase gets home for another sack, solidifying his solid career. Aggies drive now late in the second quarter. Watt's going to take the snap. He's going to roll left. He's going to decide to tuck it and run, and he's going to run it in for a touchdown. Aggies up 20-0 in the first half. But wait, there was more. Johnson's going to take the snap here, and DJ Warner comes screaming off the stunt. He fumbles the ball, and this is picked up by the other DM, Malachi Tiase, and he struts his way to the end zone for another touchdown. 27-0 with 20 seconds left in the first half. Aggies defense absolutely dominant early, and they will go on to complete the shutout, winning this one with ease, 33-0 over the Oregon State Beavers. Defensive dominance in this one. Not only did they not surrender a score, but they held the Beavers to 65 yards of total offense. Many negative yardage plays due to the number of sacks, and tack on 4 turnovers as the icing on the cake. The final game of the season sees the Aggies travel to Boise, Idaho to take on the Broncos in a snowstorm. BSU is the number 2 team in the conference record-wise, and this will likely be a preview of the conference title game depending on the result. Action kicks off here with 8 minutes left in the first. Broncos ball. Quarterback Malachi Nelson is going to take the snap on 3rd and 10. His O-line holds up. He scrambles to the right, and he's going to throw it deep downfield, and that's an open receiver, tight end Matt Wagner for a big gain. Later in the drive, Nelson's going to fake the handoff. His receivers go deep. He doesn't see anyone, but finally someone gets open, and that's another big gain. This one to Tyshawn Liggins. Aggies defense struggling to get home early, but on 3rd and goal from the 2, the D-line stops running back Sire Games, and that's going to hold the Broncos to 3. Aggies drive now facing 3rd and 9. Parker Waugh is going to take the snap. He's going to look for an open man, but unfortunately his O-line does not hold up, and he's taken down for a sack. Aggies forced to punt. Chris Marciano was back to return the punt. He fields it, and he's going to dart to the right side. A couple blocks. That's a missed tackle, and he ends up picking up huge yardage on the punt return, setting up good field position for the Broncos. But on the first play for the drive, Nelson's going to drop back the pass, and that's picked off by Jacoby Campbell, who now has interceptions in back-to-back weeks. The defense was looking suspect early on in this one, but they get a turnover, looking to set up the offense for a chance to score. However, facing a 3rd and 4 from the 11, Parker Waugh is going to take the snap. He's going to try to scramble and throw it to the end zone. It's almost intercepted, but there is a flag down, and that's an illegal forward pass, stalling this drive, forcing a 4th down. The Aggies decide to kick. Freddie Joy is going to come on, and he's going to doink this one off the upright. It falls no good. Aggies get nothing on the drive following a turnover, and the score remains 3-0. Broncos take over and driving. Nelson's going to take the snap. He fakes the handoff. The pocket collapses on him, and he's sacked by a number of defensive players by the Aggies D-line. Few plays later, facing a 3rd and 13, Aggies are going to blitz again. Nelson avoids one defender, but doesn't avoid the second, and he's taken down for another sack. Aggies defense force a punt. Their offense, however, needing a spark. They throw a little touch pass to Caden Trevino, and he breaks off a big one down to the 16-yard line. Huge gain for the Aggies offense that needed it in a big way. This ultimately leads for another field goal attempt, and from straight away, Freddie Joyan kicks it through this time, and we're all tied at 3. Broncos drive now from the 41. Nelson changes the play. He runs another play fake. He pulls it out, and he throws an absolute dot to tight end Matt Wagner, who snags it out of the air for a first down. A few plays later, Nelson's going to take the snap. He stands strong. He throws it to the end zone, and that is a touchdown strike to wide receiver Tyshawn Higgins. What a throw as the Broncos take a 10-3 lead. Aggies trying to strike back here with less than 2 minutes in the second quarter. Awad's going to start out by throwing a nice out route to Adrian Manley for a first down. Next play, Awad's going to try another throw to the sideline, but the defense was ready for it, and he's picked off by free safety Kurt Boyd, who's going to return it all the way back to the 20-yard line. Bad time to throw an interception there by Parker Awad, and the Broncos take over. Looking to capitalize off of the Aggies turnover, but the defense has different plans. Nelson's going to try to drop back the pass, and he is sacked by a number of defenders as 3 get home on that play. On a 3rd and 18, he drops back the pass, and the defense is going to get home once again as they hold the Broncos with no points surrendered. This takes us to half. 10-3 is the score. Even though the Aggies are controlling the clock and their defense are making plays, that crucial interception is the reason why the score is the way it is currently. We pick up the action midway through the third quarter. Parker Awad's going to take the snap from the 49. He drifts back a bit, but he ends up throwing a strike to Isaiah Beatsu, who's running across the sideline, and he picks up the first down. Later in the drive on a 2nd and goal, Noah Triplett's going to run it in from 2 yards out. Aggies bounce back to score a touchdown to tie the game at 10. Broncos drive now. Now with the game tied, they're going to hand this one off to Sire Gaines, who runs for a big gain, untouched for a nice first down. A couple plays later, from the 44, Nelson's going to hand this one off to the other running back, Dylan Riley, who's going to take it right up the middle, and he breaks off a 20-yard gain for his own. On 1st and 10 from the 14, Nelson's going to throw a strike to Liggins, who's going to take it in for his 2nd touchdown reception of the game. Aggies defender was just inches away from making a play on that one, but it goes in for a Bronco touchdown. Broncos got all the momentum, and on 3rd and 10, Parker Watt's going to end up getting sacked by 3 Boise State defenders, and that's going to force a punt. The boys in blue take over. Facing a 3rd and 8, Aggies set up to blitz. They do send it. Nelson's going to scrabble right and throws it quickly to Liggins, and that is another first down play. Facing a 3rd and 8 this time, Nelson's going to drop back the pass, but he's unable to get the throw off this time as he's sacked by Tayase, but a flag was thrown, and it's on the Aggies, illegal contact by linebacker Jalen Brown. We take a look at the play. It looks to be a questionable call as the receiver looks like he's right at that 5-yard mark. However, the referees think there was too much contact past 5 yards. That extends the drive. The Broncos capitalize, and that's a touchdown run by Sire Gaines, and he's going to extend their lead to 2 scores here in the 4th quarter. Now down 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarters. Aggies facing a 2nd and 10 from the 44. They have no choice but to try to air it out, but Parker Awad gets sacked by Curtis Boyd, forcing a 3rd and long. On 3rd and long, they drop back the pass again, and Parker Awad is taken down, sacked by the Broncos defense. Broncos then march down the field on their ensuing drive, and they're going to punch it in for another touchdown, making the score 31-10, pretty much icing the game here for the Broncos. With about a minute left to play, the Aggies do end up getting a score back here as Parker Watt's going to find Caden Trevino down the sideline. He outruns the defense for a long touchdown to put the score 31-17. But ultimately, the Broncos in the snow, too much for the Aggies as the Broncos offense put up 31 points and 364 yards of total offense. Not the best showing by the Aggies defense whatsoever. as they were playing on their heels pretty much all game. This Bronco win solidifies the championship game in Vegas a couple weeks from now, as New Mexico State and Boise State will do it all over again, this time for the Pac-12 championship. If you enjoyed today's action and looking forward to future games, please consider hitting that like button, and see you guys next time.